Good morning, ma'am. This is T. Kushi from ITA, and my roll number is 37. So, for Tech Talk, we have been a question. So, before knowing this, we'll know what is C language. So, coming to C language, it is known as the basic of all programming languages, and it was the first language which was introduced, and it was developed by Dennis M. Ritchie. So, after C language, we have many languages based on C, that is C++, Java, and now we are also using Python. So, compared to Python, C is a bit tough in the case of syntaxes and all, but C is generally seen as a basic language, basic programming language. And if you are very perfect in C language, it will be easy for us to understand the other programming languages as well. So coming to my Tech Talk question, so there are three problems in a contest, namely A, B, C respectively. Alice bets Bob that problem C is the hardest. Well, Bob says that the problem B will be the hardest. So you're given three integers, SA, SB, SC, which denotes the number of successful submissions of the problems A, B, C respectively. It is guaranteed that each problem has different number of submissions. So determine who wins the bet. So from this part of the question, we are able to understand that there are three problems that are A, B, C respectively. So each problem has a different number of successful submissions, which are named as SA, SB, SC. So Alice, there is a person called Alice who is betting Bob that problem C is the hardest, whereas Bob is saying that problem B is the hardest. So we have to write a program to check which one is hardest, whether it is problem B, whether it is problem C, or whether it is problem A. So let us see the next part of the question. So if Alice wins the bet, that is problem C will be the hardest. If Bob wins the bet, then the problem B will be the hardest. And if none of them wins the bet, then problem A is the hardest. So if Alice wins, the output would be Alice. If Bob wins, the output would be Bob. And if nobody wins, the output is draw. So from this question, there is a note point that is to be noted. So the hardest problem is the problem with the least number of successful submissions. So the problem which has least number of successful submissions will be taken as the hardest problem. So before going to the program of this problem, let us see what all things are used to solve this program. So first, to solve this program, we are going to use while loop. Then we are going to use if-else-if ladder. So first we'll see about while loop. So everybody know while loop is used to repeat a block of code n number of times until it is met to a stop condition. See, while loops statement allows to repeatedly run the same block of code until a condition is met. While loop is a must basic loop in C programming, while loop has one control condition and executes as long as the condition is true. The condition of the loop is tested before the body of the loop is executed. Hence, it is also called as entry controlled loop. So while loop is also called as entry controlled loop. So here you can see the syntax also. While condition is given, open parenthesis, statement, incrementation. So let us see the flow chart of the while loop. First, while it enters the while loop, it checks for the condition. If it is true, statements inside the while loop are executed. If it is false, it will come out of the loop. And when it is true, if it enters the while condition, it will repeat the same procedure until it is met to a completing condition, end condition. So let us see an example. So here we are going to take two values in integers, that is we are going to read two values, that is n is equal to 1 and times is equal to 5. Well, n is less than or equal to times, print C while loops comma n, then you are giving the increment n plus plus and return 0. So when n is less than or equal to times, until this condition matches to true, the loop will be performing the procedure which is inside the loop. The condition will be performed. Once the condition is met to false, then it comes out of the loop and the program will come to an end. So next, we're also going to use if-else-if ladder in this program. So let us know about the if-else-if ladder. The if-else-if ladder statement is an extension to the if-else statement. It is used in the scenario where there are multiple cases to be performed for different conditions. In if-else-if ladder, the statement if a condition is true, then the statements defined in the if block will be executed. Otherwise, if some other condition is true, then the statements defined in the else if block will be executed. At the last, if none of the condition is true, then the statements defined in the else block will be executed. There are multi else if blocks possible. It is similar to the switch case statement, where the default is executed instead of else block if none of the cases matched. So coming to else if ladder, it is an extension of if else. In if else, you are able to give only one condition. If that condition is false, if you can give the condition in if block. If block condition is false, it directly enters to the else block, and whatever is there in the else block will be printed. But here in the if else if ladder, you can give multiple conditions. In if you can give condition, else if you can give condition, else if you can give condition, and at the end, if all these cases will be false, then only it enters the else condition. So that is called as if else if, and it is similar to the switch condition. But in switch condition, if none of them is true, you are going to print the default function, whereas here you are going to take the else condition. So here you can see the syntax. If condition, then code which is to be executed. Else if condition, then code to be executed. Else if condition, code to be executed, so on. At last, you will give else block and condition inside it, whatever it is to be executed. So here you can also see the flow chart. If the condition is true, it executes statement 1. If the condition is false, it goes to condition true. And here in condition true, again it checks. If it is true, statement will be printed. If it is false, again it is going to condition 3. So on up to n conditions, it will check. If all the conditions are false, it will directly enter into the else block, and the statement in the else block will be executed, and the program will come to an end. So this is an example of if else if statement in C language. So here you are going to initiate a number. You are taking you are reading a number integer, that is number is equal to 0. Printf enter a number. So you're going to enter a number. Scanf %d comma and number. So if number is equal to 10, then print number is equal to 10. Else if number is equal to 50, print number is equal to 50. Else if number is equal to 100, print number is equal to 100. Else print number is equal to 10 is not equal to 10, 50 or 100, return 0. So if in this program, as you can see, if number is equal to 10, it will execute the statement in the if block. Or else if number is equal to 50, it will execute the statement in the else if block. Or if the number is equal to 100, then it will execute the statement in the another else if block. If all these 3 conditions are false, then it enters the else block, and whatever the statement is there in else block, that will be executed, and the program comes to an end. So for our question, the input format is, so we are going to use this while loops and if else if ladder to solve this program. So that is why we have gone through those statements and how to use them and all. So coming to our problem, how the input should be given. So coming to the input format, the first line of input contains a single integer t, denoting the number of test cases. The description of t test cases follows. The first and only line of each test case contains 3 space separated integers SA, SB, SC, denoting the number of successful submissions of problem A, B, C respectively. So coming to the output format, for each test case, output the winner of the bet or print draw in case no one wins the bet. So what are the constants that is used? So the t should be greater than or equal to 1 but less than or equal to 100, and SA should be greater than or equal to 1, SB and SC should be greater than or less than or equal to 100, and SA, SB, SC all should be different, all are distinct. So coming to the explanation, in test case 1, problem A turns out to be the hardest, so no one wins the bet. Test case 2, problem B turns to be hardest, so the Bob wins the bet. In problem C, C turns out to be the hardest, so Alice wins the bet. So algorithm of the program, let us see the algorithm of the program which is to be performed. So first step is start, read t, well decrement the t value, read A, B, C. So next, in the coming to if condition, if A is less than or equal to B and A is less than or equal to C, display draw. Else if B is less than or equal to C and B is less than or equal to A, display Bob. Otherwise, display Alice. Stop. So this is the algorithm of the program. So coming to the flowchart, it will be same as that of the algorithm, but we are writing in the form of flowchart. So first we have to start the program, then we are inputting the value of t. In the while condition, we are using while condition and we are reading ABC. After reading ABC, you are giving the if block condition. If A is less than or equal to B and A is less than or equal to C, display draw. Or else you're coming to, if it is not false, you are going to come to the else block, and if B is less than or equal to C and B is less than or equal to A, you are going to display else. If both the conditions are met to be false, then you are going to display Bob. After all these conditions are done, you are going to stop the program. So here is the source code. Let us know. As you all know, first we are going to read the header file. After reading the header file, it is int main function. After that, you are going to start your program by the parenthesis or flower braces. So int t. So you are reading a number of integer, that is t. Scanf %d comma ampersand t. So you are inputting. This statement is used for inputting, giving, so that the user can give the inputting value. Next comes the while condition. While t int a b c d e f g. So in while loop, you are again reading a b c d e f g values. And we are telling these are of type integer. Data type is integer. Again, we are taking the scanf and scanf %d, %d, ampersand a, comma ampersand b, comma ampersand c. So we are writing this statement so that the user can give the input. After writing this, we are going to give the condition for the program. If a less than or equal to b and a less than or equal to c, we are going to print draw. So printf draw backslash, and here backslash is n is used for new line character. So if this condition is false, then it will go to the else if condition. In else if condition, if b greater than or equal to c and b less than or equal to a, we are going to print f Bob. So else in else if condition, b is less than or equal to c and b is less than or equal to a. If this condition is true, we are going to print Bob. If this if condition and else if condition, both of the conditions are false or are not met, then it comes to the else block, and in else block we are going to print f of Alice. So in this way, you are going to get the program. After completion of the condition, you have to come out of the if block and you have to write return 0. This is the end of the program. So here, first we are going to give the input as 3. So t value of t we are going to give as 3. So that we are going to check it for 3 sample inputs. So in the first case, we are taking 1, 4, 2. So when we are giving 1, 4, 2, so a is equal to 1, b is equal to 4, and c is equal to 2. So according to our question, we have noted a point that less number of successful submissions, that is known as the hardest problem. So as you can see in the input, A is 1. So 1 successful submission. For B, there are 4 successful submissions. For C, there are 2 successful submissions. So according to this, A is the toughest problem. So if A is the toughest problem, then we have to print draw. So in output, you can see draw. So in the second test case, A is equal to 16, B is equal to 8, and C is equal to 10. So B is less. So B is the toughest problem, hardest problem. So when B is the hardest problem, then you have to print Bob. So Bob is being printed. And in the third test case, A is 14, B is 15, and C is 9. So here C is less. That is, C is the hardest problem. Successful submissions of problem C is less. So here, according to this test case, C is the hardest problem. So when C is the hardest problem, we are going to print Alice. So Alice is going to be printed. Thank you. Hope you all understood this problem. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share my point of view on this problem.